Good evening and welcome to Food for Thought. This is the very first episode of this little segment I decided to put together so that I could reach out to you, the average American, to discuss all different topics. We're going to discuss in the future things like entertainment, pop culture, music, but tonight we're going to focus on the election and the Electoral College, since tonight is the night before the electoral vote, and all through the House, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Well, people, do you think there's going to be a big surprise on December 19th or December 20th when the results of that vote are announced? Do you think common sense still exists in America? Will Lady Liberty be able to wipe away her tears and move on into the future with hope in heart? Oh boy, what the heck have we gotten ourselves into? You know, I saw with President Obama, he had his last press conference before he left for his final vacation as President of the United States. He and his family went down to Hawaii. But during this press conference, he said that back in September, when he first gotten wind that Putin was messing with the election, he told Putin to cut it out. I've always respected our president, but I think to just merely say something like cut it out to Vladdy just maybe wasn't tough enough. Then we got to see Michelle Obama do her last interview, or what we're told is her last interview as First Lady. She did this interview with Oprah, and Oprah asked her a question. Now, what we're seeing a lot of the news media recite, they're kind of taking it out of context. Oprah was talking about hopelessness and the feeling of hopelessness, and that's how she directed the question to Michelle Obama. So, with that being said, Michelle Obama's response was, well, this is what hopelessness feels like. So it wasn't exactly as the mainstream media is portraying, but she was talking about herself, I believe. I also believe she was talking about Democrats and people that voted for Hillary Clinton. She wasn't talking about Trump supporters. Of course, Trump supporters do not feel hopeless. As a matter of fact, they feel hopeful. And I hope somewhere in the weeks to come I get to talk to some Trump supporters, because I'd like to understand where everybody in America is coming from. And maybe if we can all understand where everybody's coming from, we can understand and put our heads together to make it better, because things are not good right now. They're not good in our country. They're not good in our world. Okay, so I also want to touch on, I watch CNN a lot, and I want to say two things to two of the people that constantly appear on CNN. One is Jeffrey Lord. I want to ask him to please just go away. Take some time off. I'm tired of seeing you. And I want to double and triple that for Kayleigh McEnany. Really, chick, really. Hang it up. Take a vacation. Take a break. Go to a doctor. Get some Quaaludes. Do something, because you are way, way over the top. So you want to talk about fake news? People. There's this nifty little tool on the internet, and it's called Google. Fact check, please. Do we really need Facebook to tell us that these articles are fake? Do you really, really think that Hillary Clinton, the biggest supporter of children in the United States, was running a pedophile ring? Give me a break, people. Okay. I'm supposed to be calm when I'm doing this. I'm not supposed to get crazy or upset, so I'm going to back it up a little bit. And we're going to go back to talking about what's going to happen tomorrow when the electors meet. So by now, I'm hoping that many Americans are aware of what this all means, and the fact that when everybody went on November 8th and voted, basically what that vote did was it told the electors that this is who we want for president. Didn't actually make Donald Trump president, and he won't become president until tomorrow, if all the electors agree to vote the way the people voted. Now, some of them actually have pledged to vote the way their state voted. Some don't have to. So it's really a mess. And, and that's the simplest way I can put it. Tomorrow, because there have been many electors and even some Republican electors who have come out and said they are not going to vote for Trump. But they are planning on voting for another Republican. Bottom line is, if there isn't a consensus tomorrow, and it still looks like Trump could become president, then it will go to the House of Representatives and they will decide. And since it's a Republican House and everything's Republican right now, then Donald Trump will still end up being president. Okay, so what will that mean for this country? Will the vote go to the House, and will it end up with Trump anyhow? Probably. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's probably the situation that we're in. Well, I know some of you do want to hear that, but some don't. So, what's different about Food for Thought is that we're going to say things that others may be afraid to say. I'm going to say things that others may be thinking, but don't speak out loud. I watch CNN a lot, and I know that sometimes there are people that want to say things, and they start to say them, and then they don't finish, because I guess they're afraid of the repercussions if they speak their mind, and that's not how it's supposed to be here in America. Anyhow, the Russians hacked into the DNC's emails, and they released them to WikiLeaks. Quite frankly, most of those emails were boring. John Podesta is not a very interesting character. All it showed was that he didn't always have very nice things to say about Hillary. I'm really looking forward to hearing that Hillary has parted ways with him permanently, because he's really not her friend. After viewing Donald's tweets for months, and some people have even gone back and looked at them for years, wouldn't it have been much more interesting had we gotten to peek into Donald's emails? Donald and his merry group of misfits. Can you just imagine what those emails must look like? Those would have been really entertaining. Donald was supposed to wrap up his final thank you tour, which is really the I won, you didn't, kiss my butt tour, where he spends at least 20 minutes literally patting himself on the back at each stop. And sometimes he calls up some of his butt kissers to help him pat himself on the back. This man has no idea what humility is. In fact, we learned from his tweet yesterday that he doesn't know how to spell the word unprecedented. Mind-blowing stuff. You really can't make this stuff up. Anyhow, he mentioned at the end of his final stop in Alabama that he thinks he will still do them. It was supposed to be the final tour. It was supposed to be the final stop. But I think it's not going to be the final. I think he's going to do more of them. In the end, is there no end to the torture this man is intending on harping on the American people? I have a lot of Facebook friends, and a lot of times we talk back and forth, and every now and then I see insightful things from some of them. And I have a friend named Johnny A. Wendell, and I asked him if I could read this today, and this is regarding Trump's victory tour. And this is what Johnny says. And thanks, Johnny, for letting me do this. Trump's victory tour has concluded. I watched about a minute of one of his ADD-addled speeches, 100% improvised, it seemed, gauging the audience and giving them what they wanted. If a stand-up comic was that adept at reading the crowd, they'd work 365 days a year. You're right, Johnny. You're really right. That's so true. But let's get real here. The audience is the same everywhere he goes. I prefer to look at them than him because they fascinate me. Chris Rock said it best when he concluded that a white man that couldn't make a living in America was truly I can't use the F word, but that's what he's saying, of epic proportions, giving the advantages that we have over everyone else. I was looking at convention centers full of these guys, almost my age and up. Mostly in poor shape, dressed in ugly clothes and all sour looking. Despite having the winner in their very presence, almost no one was smiling. Which leads me to believe that the source of Trump's appeal isn't that he gives these people hope for the future. He is, in fact, their angel of death. the great avenger that will smite everyone that they feel has ruined their otherwise idyllic lives. The uppity women, the people that won't speak English, the scary black people, men that kiss each other in public, people of indeterminate gender pissing in their bathrooms, non-believers, Muslims and Jews, you name it, anyone that doesn't play by their rules, the ones in which they rule. By the middle of 2017, it may start to occur to the brighter among them, and then he says in parentheses, a low threshold to be sure, that none of these undesirables are going anywhere, and that they're more on their own than ever, and that Trump, having sold them on his ability to wave a magic wand and make the boo-boo go away, has no intention of doing anything other than make himself wealthy and restrict their actual rights of redress. Because Trump is the ultimate powerful white daddy in their eyes, it may take a little longer. He can endorse drilling on every piece of American soil, which will forever endear him to people whose sole pleasure in life is pissing off the libs. Other than that, though, he can do nothing, and these lemon faces are going to be madder than ever. Well, that's very true, and I think we're probably going to all, unfortunately, see that is going to come to pass. Okay, so what part of did not win the popular vote does Trump not understand? I also heard today that 62% of Trump supporters and people that voted for Trump are not aware that Trump did not win the popular vote. People, Hillary won the popular vote. Hillary won by almost 3 million votes. She is in second place to Obama, who won more votes in the history of the United States in the year 2012 than any other president. Hillary, of the popular vote, Hillary is in second place. He does not have a mandate, and I think I put that in here earlier because for him, he says over and over again he has a mandate. He does not have a mandate. If you don't know what that means, look it up in Google. There's a really cool explanation there, real short, quick explanation about what a mandate means. He does not have one. Oh, it was right here. Hillary has almost 3 million more votes than you, man. You really need to shut up and get to work because you are lucky there is an electoral college or you wouldn't be the president-elect. You work for us, the people. And the people would like you to concentrate on learning your job. Divesting yourself of your many businesses, stop tweeting and act like a grown-up. You have accomplished the ultimate branding opportunity. We get that. But you can't be utilizing that opportunity while in the White House. You have to wait until you are out of the White House to use this branding opportunity, or you risk conflicts of interest and impeachment. Your advisors must be advising you of that, right? No, seriously, really, tell me. Tell me, Donald, if you're watching this, your advisors are telling you that you can't be doing this while you're the president because it's going to look really, really bad and it's going to piss a lot of people off. Anyhow, it's easy to say that now is the time that the country pull together. It's a wonderful thought. The only problem is it seems that the Electoral College did not elect a leader. A divider was elected, so that makes it hard to come together. It is time to be president to all the people. If you can't focus on that, then perhaps you should not be president. Why has Donald Trump not released his tax returns? He said over and over again during the election that he would do it when when his tax return was out of audit. In fact, being in audit does not stop you from producing your taxes. He said he would do that if he was elected. Here he is, president-elect, and no taxes have been forthcoming. Why? Why not? Why are more people not concerned about what he is looking to conceal? DT, short for Donald Trump, wants to pick fights with China and support Putin. Why? More importantly, why doesn't that scare the hell out of more people? Really, people. Really. You know, I wanted to do this little segment, Food for Thought, to give people things to ponder. I wanted the setting to be relaxed. In the future, we're not going to just discuss political things, because I don't want it to just be political. I want it to be about everything. I want to talk about pop culture, food, entertainment, fun, and folly. I do have a little folly here for you, which actually pertains to, well, not really the election, but Ivanka Trump has boots on sale, for sale on Amazon. And there are some really funny remarks or comments, on the Amazon website regarding her boots. And I thought I would read some of them to you because they're really, really funny. And if you want to read any more, because I'm just going to read a few of them. If you want to see any more, just go to Amazon.com and put in Ivanka Trump's woman's boots and it'll come up. But anyhow, this one person says, these Chinese boots are just perfect. Whether walking the streets with your stepmother, the streets of Moscow with your dad and Uncle Vlad, or dancing the night away at the annual Advent Gala to the strains of a whiter shade of pale, or just your everyday trampling the rights of others, however they are so constricting that they sent me to the podiatrist, whom I could not pay, having lost my health care. My mom offered to pay, but she has lost her Social Security and now lives in an alley behind a deli. Well, that would be really funny if in the future it might turn out to be true. Then it won't be so funny. Here's a buyer beware. These boots are some sort of port key or wrinkle in the space-time continuum. I put them on and I was transported back to Berlin in 1933. That's really creative. I like that one. Here's a good one. My dad says they're really hot, but they just make me uncomfortable. That one really made me chuckle. Did you get that, people? Did you get that one? Oh. Both boots, for some reason, are right. One is marked as extremely right, the other as alt-right, though they look the same to me. Just bizarre. Sizing and all the other info is in Russian, but they are made in China. The only plus is that they look really well together with either a brown shirt or a white hood. People of America, I just love you. You are so funny. You're so creative. Listen, I'm going to go now because I don't want this first segment to run so long that, you people don't get through it. But I want to say, please feel free to post your comments, questions, or statements in the comment section under this video on YouTube. Stop back often because I will read these questions, comments, and statements. So if you want to hear me read your statement on the next, episode segment, come on in and leave a statement, question, and I'll answer it. Anyhow, thank you for joining me during food and for our first episode of Food for Thought, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.